A gracious good afternoon once again. 'Tis I, Norton the First, by grace of God, Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, back to you with episode 22 of Emperor Norton's fantastic history vlog. This is the weekend edition. As we do every weekend, we welcome our special guest, the Countess Lola Montez.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Always good to have you here. And we're doing a special interview today. I have a few questions for you, Countess.
Well, before we start, Emperor, I would like to say, for those of you out there that are animal lovers, which I am, I would like to dedicate this particular recording to my dear, sweet little bird that passed away, named after the famous opera singer Caruso, Enrico Caruso. So little Caruso, rest in peace.
I believe one of his feathers is on my cap, isn't it?
Indeed, indeed. He provided many feathers for the empire.
Sad day. Well, let's start with our first question, Countess.
Yes.
When did you arrive in San Francisco and what brought you here?
Oh, my. Well, first of all, it's been 167 years since I first arrived. My anniversary's coming up. It was in May of 1853. And I was booked in San Francisco at various theaters and, world famous already for my spider dance, which was very provocative and outlawed in Melbourne, Australia.
I've heard that.
Yes. And I was in several Shakespearean plays with Edwin Booth, who's quite a handsome feller. And, the very famous Booth family, they were
yes.
San Franciscan that had been immigrated from the South in the United States, and Julius the father was quite the thespian, and so his son Edwin was in several of the plays with me. There are some really pictures of him. He was quite striking. But I arrived at the Long Wharf, and I was with my new husband, Patrick Purdy Hall, that I met on coming across the jungles of Panama, coming up the coast, and I was with my publicist, my maid Periwinkle, she was from New Orleans, and all my menagerie of pets, parrots, monkeys, etc. Everyone had read about me and knew I was arriving, so 5,000 of the populace came out to meet me at the wharf and greet me, mainly men, of course. And they were throwing flowers, wanting a glimpse of me. Patrick and I were to be married at Mission Dolores Basilica. I was making $15,000 a week.
Oh, my.
And who was that famous quote about me?
Oh, what was it? It was something about your eyes?
Yes, one of the reporters said, to look in the eyes of Lola Montez makes one think of the bedroom. So here we are in my boudoir.
Indeed.
Mm.
Is it really true that you were married approximately 25 times and sued for bigamy? At least 3 times?
Tis, that. My God, what has been alleged? Well, Tallulah Bankhead once said it better. I don't care what they say about me as long as they talk about me. And 'tis a fact I love my men. Good girls go to heaven and bad girls go everywhere else, My friends used to say, Lola, why do you know so much about men? And I said, well, because I went to night school. Men are like textbooks. You have to spend a little time between the covers to gain a small amount of satisfaction. I must say, the newspaper reporters, I guess now, with the current regime that's in office, they call it phony news. Is that the way it is?
I believe it's a fake news.
Oh, well. Well, there's a lot to be said about it. Don't believe everything you read, especially about my life. I did have to cover my tracks,
Now, I know you're not normally one to kiss and tell,
Mm.
but who were your most memorable paramours?
Of course, you, Emperor Norton.
Oh.
You're presently, but in my past, you mean.
Yes, in your past. In your past.
Yes, and I do have a past, indeed. Well, let me think back. Of course, there was Alexander Dumas. There was a shooting duel over that. And then there was the Prince of Prussia. Franz Liszt, the composer. Of course, he's the one that introduced me to King Ludwig I of Bavaria. And hence my title, Countess of Landsfeld. that caused a revolution, and Ludwig lost his throne over it. And
Terrible thing.
Oh, love, grand, my God. Love is grand, and what is a divorce? 100 grand or more? The difference between love and marriage: love is blind and marriage is an eye-opener, eh? You got that one there.
There's a lovely city in the foothills of the Sierra called Grass Valley, I understand. Oh, you lived there for a while. What was that like?
Yes, I did. I bought a ranch house there at the insistence of Mr. Patrick Perry Hall, and he was a no-good bastard. Well, we were married for 2 months, I must say. It was not exactly bliss. And I invested in the Empire Mines in Nevada City. I entertained the miners and discovered little Lotta Crabtree there, the darling of San Francisco. Well, Mr. Hull had, let's say, he was a heavy drinker. He was possessive and a jealous type. And we would get to drinking, to pass the time, and we would start arguing about things, and, well, the next thing you know, we're fighting, and one night he got drunk, and he was angry, and he was possessive, and accusing me of all kinds of raw. And so what happened, he went out in front, in the yard, and he shot my pet grizzly bears that were tethered there in the front yard. They had been a gift from an admirer, and I left him like a bad habit I did, and I headed off to tour. Goodness.
Now, I understand you have a fondness for animals and small children?
Yes, I do indeed. I've always taken a liking to them. I've had my share of pets, as I've mentioned about little Caruso. But, the pets and young children are so forgiving and so delightful. You never know, and very truthful as well. That's why when I met little Lotta with her flaming red hair and a talent for singing and dancing on the barrel tops doing the Irish jigs, I took her under my wing and I taught her everything I knew. She was so pure, not even Moses could have gotten those knees apart, I swear.
Dear.
But, we can learn a lot from animal behavior, indeed.
I know the press can be a problem sometimes. And I understand you took a whip to an editor that gave you a bad review.
And who told you such lies?
Oh, things out there. Things get...
Well, now, that there. I must say I've had my moments of making a point with a bullwhip or a riding crop. I did that in Warsaw with one of the regimes. But, and it isn't something that's out of style. Perhaps that should come back into fashion. But I'm not advocating violence, people. We have enough in the world as it is. But editors and men are worse than dogs. You can train a dog in a couple of months, and after a year, the dog is still wagging its tail and happy to see you. But husbands? Not so. Well, when losing one's temper, we have to be careful, because when you have a crazy person gone through the forest, he takes the psychopath usually. Mm-hmm. So we have to be very careful about that. Be mindful.
Very good. Now, as many of you know, yesterday was the 114th anniversary of the Great San Francisco earthquake and fire.
Wait a minute, I think we're having an earthquake now.
Oh dear.
No, I think it's just the lesbians upstairs,
yes,
having rough sex.
Oh dear. But, and if you did not see yesterday's vlog, it was a special 30-minute one. It's the one just below this one. Do tune in, but I understand in honor of the occasion, you have a special song provided for us today.
I do indeed, and perhaps you'll help me a bit there, Norton. Mm-hmm. It only takes a tiny corner of this great big world to make a place we love. My home upon the hill, you know I love it still. I've been away, but now I'm back to tell you. San Francisco, open your golden gate. You'll let no stranger wait outside your door. San Francisco, here is your wandering one. Say I'll go roaming no more. Other places only make me love you best. Tell me who is the emperor of the Golden West. the Golden West.
San Francisco, we're coming home again. We're coming home to go roaming no more. Well, that wraps it up for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Until we meet next, stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside, and be kind to one another.
Be well, my dears.
Thanks for tuning in.